Hello and welcome to Tabletop 24, and thank you for joining us for another TCG unboxing. Today we have the One Piece card game and the Start Set 01. So this is the Straw Hat Crew box. There were 4 that are launched with the standard set for set 1, and that is just released. We're going to go through all of them, but we're going to start obviously with ST1 and obviously starting with Luffy's deck. So recently I have picked up the anime and also the manga, and been quite impressed with it, with knowing that this card game was going to be coming out. So did do the sort of, not the pre-release, but the tester sessions for the game. I found them quite useful. So we're going to get straight into these, and we will have a game mat, which will give us some instructions on how to play the game. We've got a game mat there with the instructions on the side. Any TCG has had these over the years. I think some have stayed away from it now, but I'm glad to see you got a full sort of jumpstart guide in there. Then we've got our deck of cards and a little bit of extra cardboard. So we are going to try and get these out and go through them. So straight up, one thing to know about this card game is the card stock is really heavy, which is quite nice actually. So first up, we're not going to go through these too much, is our Don cards. These are going to be what we're going to be spending to get our cards out. Then we have our Straw Hat Crew Luffy. So we've got that there. That's the foil. This is our red deck, so we can only play red cards in there. Then we've got 2 copies of Luffy, which is going to be a 5 cost, 6,000 hit point with the rush ability, and also for Don ×2, when attacking, your opponents cannot activate a blocker during this battle. So really just powering through the deck. So this is going to be quite an aggressive deck, I believe. Then we have 2 copies of Roronoa Zoro, and that 3 costs 5,000 life. And Don 1, this character gains plus 1,000. So quite cheap, quite easy to boost. Going to be that middle of the game going through. Okay, and we have got 4 copies of Usopp. And on Usopp, we have got 2 cost, 2,000 health, with a counter of 1,000. Don ×2, when attacking, your opponents cannot activate blocker character that has 5,000 or more power during this battle. So it stops you being hit with a bigger ability. So you're going to be using that at the right point for you. Then we have got, I believe, 4 copies of Karoo. So 1 cost, 3,000 life with counter 1. Early cheap card that's going to potentially gain you some ball presence. Then we've got 4 copies of Sanji. So Sanji is a 2 cost, 4,000 health, Don ×2. This character gains rush. So dropping it in for 4, you can come straight in with it early on. So getting that sort of round turn 2 if you go second. Like I say, this is very much an aggro built deck. Then we have 4 copies of Jinbe, which is 3 cost, 5,000 health. Don 1, when attacking, your leader or one of your characters other than this card gets 1,000 during this turn. So quite a nice bit of support going there for it. And we have everybody's favourite, Tony Chopper, which is 1,001 cost, and it's a blocker. So really cheap to just power through and just try and keep the aggression on, so dropping him out as a blocker. Then we've got 4 copies of Nami for 1 cost or 1,000 with activate main once per turn. Give 1 rested Don card to your leader and one of your characters. So again, getting that bit of support in there. Then we have 4 copies of Nico Robin. 3 cost, 5,000 health. Just straight up with the 1,000 counter. So straight up, just attacking out. We've got 4 copies of Nefertari Vivi with the counter 1, cost of 2, 4,000 damage, health. Fairly standard cards. Like I said, these are the star decks, so they're not going to be too creative with what they're doing, just enough to get you into the game. Then next up, we have got Frankie. Frankie is going to be a 4 cost, 6,000 with a counter 1. Again, fairly basic, fairly standard card. It's going to be doing some work for you. Then next up, we've got Brooke with a counter of 2,000. So it's really going to be useful to get that extra 2,000 counter. 2 costs, 3,000. And on play, give up to 2 rested Don cards to your leader or one of your characters. Okay, so really giving you that extra push through power. But only 2 copies of that in the deck. We then got 2 copies of Guard Point. So counter, this does have a trigger. So if we're using this as a life card, it will be activating. Your leader or one of your characters gets 1,000 power during this turn. And it is a counter card. Your leader or one of your characters gets plus 3,000 power during this battle. Okay, so nice event there, but just 2 copies of that. Then we have 2 copies of Gum Gum Jet Pistol, which 4 cost, main, KO one of your opponent's characters with 6,000 power or less. And with a trigger, you activate the main ability. So that's quite nice, and it's going to probably upset your opponent quite nicely there. Then we have 2 copies of Diable Jambi. 1 cost, main, select one of your Straw Hat Crew, type leader, or character cards. Your opponent cannot activate blocker if that leader or character attacks during this turn. They're really being selective on what you're doing. With the trigger effect of KO one of your opponent's blocker characters with a cost of 3 or less. Okay. And last up, we have got 2 copies of Thousand Sunny, which is 2 cost. Activate main, you may rest this stage with a cop 1 for Straw Hat Crew type leader or character card. On your field, gains plus 1,000 this turn. Okay, so it's going to be quite nice to be able to disengage that. So that was everything there in the Straw Hat Crew starter deck, and quite a nice basic deck to get going with. It seems to be quite aggressive. We will have the others coming up on the channel quite shortly. So if you haven't done so already, give us a like and a subscribe. Check out other videos on the channel, and catch you next time. Take care.